Hey guys, welcome back to Creating Creators Podcast. On today's episode, I have a chance to sit down and talk with Jordan and Steven. Jordan and Steven own Stratos Films, a very interesting video production company based in Birmingham, Alabama. And this is really an endeavor that Jordan and Steven have undertaken that I do believe will positively impact and create incredible opportunities for creatives in the Birmingham area. Jordan and Steven also have a YouTube channel that goes by Stratos Creatives. And on this channel, you get to see sort of their humor, their chemistry on camera, and really their creativity at large. Jordan and Steven shared incredible stories and just their incredible sense of humor on this episode, and I'm very thankful to share it with you now. Check it out. So Stratos Films, and correct me at all if I'm sort of missing that name, because I also see like Stratos Creatives, but from what I understand, your company's name is Stratos Films. Tell me a little bit about who the two of you are, and then we'll get sort of into y'all's journey later. But just in general, who are you?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. But I'm Jordan. I just turned 30.
Old.
Unfortunately.
I'm telling you.
Old. The pain in my knees, it's already begun. But I've been a filmmaker, gosh, since I started filming stuff with my brothers when we were just like kids, making little shorts. And then got to doing like more independent stuff on my own when I was like 17, 18. Started shooting music videos a lot. And then in 2021, I quit my job and started doing this full time. And I've been shooting, ever since. But primarily doing short films, a lot of narrative stuff.
A lot of music videos. Jordan does a lot of music videos. Very good music videos,
Thank you. Yeah, that's honestly probably one of my favorite things to do is music videos. They're like, I feel like they have like the appeal of like a short film without like having to deal with difficult stuff like audio and just like a lot of tedious things that come with short films. You can kind of brush aside.
Yeah, and you don't have to be like a structured to with like with narratives. You have to keep attention to the audience the entire time. But with music videos, more of just getting pretty images and making sure it looks cool, rather than focusing on audience retention and things like that.
Yeah, a lot of the narrative, if there is one, comes from just like context clues. It's very much like I guess a silent film way of shooting.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun. It's again, you don't have like the tediancy of like like dealing with continuity or anything like that, or strict continuity.
Yeah,
you got a lot more freedom with it just in general.
Exactly. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. What you said you really switched over in 2021. I mean, that's sort of still in the midst of COVID, right? So did COVID like help your career move in that direction, or did it push you or pull you in that direction at all?
It's hard to say, really. I guess so. It was June, I believe, of 2021. And at that point, I was working at Costco, and some of the restrictions were starting to lift a little bit. Things felt a bit safer, I guess. But it was one of those things where it was, I don't know. I guess working at Costco and in the midst of all of that really made me want to get out of it more and focus more on what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Especially during the time of like working all of 2020 and all of that, where it was like, it felt like the end of the world.
Yeah.
So it was like, do I want to end this off working at Costco, or do I want to at least try and get out?
Yeah. I also want to interject too. The entire time during 2020, Jordan and I, we lived together inside of a house. We had this nice house out in Centerpoint, so not a safe area, but the house is really cool. So what we did was a buddy of mine and me, Jack, Sarah, and me, we set dressed the entire house, and we filmed an entire feature film throughout the year of 2020 because, well, there was no work, so I wasn't getting paid. So I'm like, all right, well, we'll just make a movie while in the meantime. So the entire time, Jordan's coming in, late at night, working from Costco, and then leaving in the morning, not being able to help out with the set. So I'm sure that was kind of a thing of like, you know what? I hate this job.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. Yeah, because like that whole period, I started. I want to say I started Costco sometime in 2019, and from starting then to when I quit, I was basically on a hiatus. I had like no energy or want to shoot anything.
Starting to date a girl too, and that was, that took a lot of your time.
Yeah, that's true. So it was like, I don't know. I guess that, and seeing all these people, doing what I wanted to do, really definitely pushed me more out of retail and wanting to.
The main reason I even asked is because like COVID sort of solidified the need for video. I feel like in a lot of various industries, and I know a lot of people. It seems like more and more people I talk to, COVID really just sort of like a lot of times gave them, sometimes it forced them to get into video because they're like, well, this other work I was doing just dried up completely. I might as well go all in on this. But then other people, it was like, man, there was so much need and demand. It just sort of bloomed. But anyway, I do want to obviously give Stephen a chance to introduce himself. So please go ahead, Stephen, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get back to the real star of the show, which is Jordan, right?
So anyway,
I don't know. Started same as him. Started doing filmmaking whenever I was a kid. I feel like everybody has that same story of like, started as a kid with a camera, making YouTube videos and around the house with some friends. But the thing that really got me into filmmaking was practical effects, like Rick Baker and what is his name? The guy that has the school.
Make sure not to edit out any of this awkwardness.
No. This is the good stuff, man.
Stan Winston, Rick Baker, guys like that. Those are the guys that kind of, whenever I was younger, I wanted to get into practical effects, and I was looking at like monsters and things like that for movies, and I was like, heck yeah, I want to own a studio where I make practical effects. Well, didn't do that. Now I'm behind the camera. I think it was probably around my high school year that I was like, okay, no, I actually enjoy operating the camera rather than making the practical effects, which I still do have a massive respect for practical effects. But whenever I was about 12 years old, I started working with Blender and the 3D program Blender.
Yeah.
And I now have more of a respect, and I hate to say this, but I do have more of a respect for clever uses of CGI. So whenever CGI is used properly, not necessarily great, as well, we've broken it down on our YouTube channel. So when people do bad CGI, but when it's done well, I really enjoy it. Huh?
I was gonna say, you should tell the story about you being hired on like Fiverr as like what, 13-year-old, 12-year-old?
Yeah, as like a 12, 13-year-old. I was on the top 10 artist of BlendSwap, which was like at the time was like Blender's biggest platform for artists. And then I was being hired on Fiverr to like do 3D mock-ups for hospitals or roadways for this random country out in the middle of nowhere. And nobody knew that I was like 12, 13 years old. That was my first job. But
it's the anonymity of the internet that just gave you an early jump start on your career.
Oh yeah, because it's just a profile picture and then a name, so nobody knew, and people would come up with like nicknames for me and stuff like that. And it was, oh man, I hate to say this, but I go ahead and say it was Yellow Panda. So I think a lot of people also assumed that I was like from China or something like that too.
Right.
I found the first thing to cut out.
Yeah, probably cut that one out. But I don't feel like that doesn't come off bad. But,
he's questioning it now in his head. Did you already have your beard at 12? Is that what sort of sold it?
Oh yeah. Beard in the bleach chair.
Yeah.
I picture like 12-year-old you in like a little suit at your computer, just talking to the door.
Well, at the time I did wear a lot of sweater vests, so that was probably does kind of translate.
We all went through the sweater vest phase at some point in our lives, I'm sure.
I've still got some in my closet right now.
Yeah, not a phase.
Yeah, not for you.
Not for you.
Oh, it's still going on.
But yeah, that CGI is actually translated into my career now. So just recently, I got done doing a VFX supervisor for a feature. That's why I've been off of making YouTube videos, because I was doing that along with a couple other bigger projects. That was a lot of fun. And then I got slated for another VFX supervisor next year that we're going up to North Dakota to film for about a month, and that'll be a lot of fun. So that'll be a bunch of VFX and all kinds of different stuff, which is going to be like a fully CGI bear, and yeah, it's gonna be
cool.
It's gonna be a lot of work, but it'll be a lot of fun.
Now, is the stuff you do CGI wise, is that all freelance? Like they just hire you directly, or do you work for an agency or a company of sorts?
Freelance, all freelance. I've been doing freelance for the past gosh, 8 years now,
Something like that.
seven,
Yeah.
8 years. Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for a while. I couldn't imagine going back to a regular 9 to 5. Although I would enjoy the benefits of medical insurance and things like that. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. I do enjoy freelance, so
Yeah, I work for the school system in Shelby County, so that I definitely benefit from the benefits, so to speak.
yeah.
But
That's
at the
what we
same
saw.
time, it also sort of like ties you down a little bit because you do become so dependent upon that. Especially when you have a family, it's like you really don't want to just walk away from that because you have responsibilities, and then it makes it hard when you feel drawn out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think both sides have benefits and both sides have some struggles.
Yeah. It would be nice if there was some sort of way that freelancers they could have some sort of cheaper alternative to medical insurance for freelancers, or something along those lines. Especially if you're a freelancer trying to have a family, trying to start a family, which is both of us are going to be going through that in the next several years, and that's that not together with
So yeah.
our partner. But yeah, but insurance, that's one of the biggest stresses. Like, oh my gosh, I have to provide, as a freelancer, I have to provide insurance for my whole family. And that's going to be, that's
Yeah.
expensive as a
That
freelancer.
was the hardest decision for me stepping away from Costco, because Costco, I was only part time, which really I was full time. Anytime I would get close to it, they would just draw it back. But they give benefits if you are part time. So I
Oh
had
yeah.
great benefits. I had I forget the brand, but it was really good. Yeah, best I had ever had. But
Well, it's
that
funny
was
that y'all bring this up because today's episode is actually brought to you by Creating Creators podcast insurance company that just started. So,
Oh, I was about to say,
no, not at all. There's no sponsors. The sponsor of this podcast is me. So, and I don't have enough money to insure anything.
yeah. Well, tell us a bit about yourself, because I mean, we've seen your work on Instagram and things like that, but we would like to know more about you as well.
Yeah. So you said earlier you started like everyone starts as a kid.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily my story. My story, probably I started videoing my kids. That was a big thing. Um,
Yeah.
and then from there, I was a history teacher for most of my career. And then probably about, gosh, 7, 8 years into teaching, I got a chance to teach marketing. I was a history teacher, and then I started teaching marketing. And with that, I could teach Adobe, and with that, I sort of started researching it. I didn't even know. I mean, I knew what Adobe was, and I knew some of the stuff they offered, but I didn't know how to manually control a camera. I didn't know anything, and and then I started learning it to teach it, and then I just fell in love with it. And now my full time job is they call it digital media specialist,
Mm-hmm.
but basically I'm a videographer and photographer for Shelby County schools.
Okay.
And then I do some freelance stuff as well. With I've got a buddy of mine, the guy that actually works with me at the school system, Cole Peavy. He and I do some freelance stuff together, and then I do a little bit on my own as well. So
okay, nice.
Okay.
yeah.
Saw you had Drew Colliner on recently.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, he's a good friend of ours. We love Drew. Drew's
Yeah.
that's
really
awesome.
Yeah, Drew's really good, and we're supposed to grab some lunch. I think sometime, maybe in about a week or two, we're supposed to grab some lunch. And I'll go ahead and say this now: your episode will come out after this. Just I'm trying to let them out once a week, but On the 18th, I don't know if you've seen it, but we're going to have like a meetup. It's going to be Creating Creators Meetup. And I'm inviting anybody, any of the creators in the Birmingham area that wants to come out and join us at Brock's Gap Brewing over in Hoover, man. And if the two of y'all aren't busy, I'd love to have you. It's going to be 6 to 9 p.m. on the 18th. So
we'll be there, right?
Yes. Let me double check real quick.
Yeah, and then there's a sign up. If you'll sign up with me on my Instagram account, I'll guarantee you a brisket plate free and some beer. So
cool,
free.
Sounds good.
Yeah, absolutely. You said 6 p.m. right?
Yeah, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome. Well, I do have some more questions for you. It's not all about me. What are you laughing about? You like?
Oh no!
Those are.
I knew I should go to that one.
It's always nice when people leave their Facebook and Instagram just sort of like unfiltered. So thank you both.
Yeah.
You recognize that one guy that we're posing with?
I do. That's Daniel from Everything Everywhere All at Once, the director. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Local Birmingham guy. Well, was and grew up local. Yeah. Now he's probably off in LA or something like that, though. But
I would imagine he's probably going to stay out that way now. I'm curious as to what they're currently working on. I haven't seen. I mean, I would imagine they're working on something pretty big after that one. But let's. I know this was Swiss Army Man. You said, or I think in the caption I saw.
It was Death of Dick Long. I think.
Yeah. So that was actually at the premiere of The Death of Dick Long.
Okay.
That was Daniel's film by himself, not with Daniel Juan. It was just Daniel.
Right.
Schneider.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Which we are definitely really good friends with Daniel.
Yeah,
and we didn't just meet him drunk we didn't meet him drunk at at the premiere. It was so
if you can edit his face right here,
we are best friends. Yeah,
I am not the VFX guy. That would literally look like something was cut out and pasted there.
Perfect.
Even better.
Yeah. Daniel, for the brief meeting that we had with Daniel, he's a really cool guy.
Yeah, he was really sweet.
And the other friends, oh my gosh, they're awful. That was for my high school prom.
Yeah, I'm like 17 there.
Yeah.
I love the fact that obviously, Jordan, your hair has significantly expanded since then. But I really love just sort of that sepia tone that we've got with you, Stephen. I love the fact that you still left the color in the bow ties.
Yeah, my dad was like, "Why do you look so depressed?" Well, I wasn't supposed to be, but
it's art, Dad.
It's art, Dad. You don't understand.
It's teenage angst. That's what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I do want to know. I want to know, where did y'all grow up? Did y'all both grow up in the Birmingham area? I'm from Hueytown myself, so I grew up right in the Birmingham area. So
that's where I grew up. Is in Hueytown.
Really?
Yeah. So Hueytown, and then I moved to Trussville. Well, my parents moved to Trussville. I was probably in third grade when I moved to Trussville. But yeah, Hueytown was that's where I was born and raised.
Did you ever by chance go to the alternative school when you were a student in Hueytown?
I don't think so.
Okay, I didn't imagine so. I was an alternative school teacher for like 6 years, and I taught in the old Hueytown High School. Which was where that's where I graduated from.
Is that where you're at right now? Is Hueytown?
No, I live in Helena now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're in Pelham. We're like right down the street.
Oh, yeah. Well, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing this in person? Y'all come on over. That would have been a really great setup if it was like, wait a minute, just come on over here, and then suddenly y'all walk into frame.
Yeah, we're right there. That would be great.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't think that far ahead with this stuff. I mean, it's literally like, I'm making this stuff up as I go. So
I think that's the better way to go, honestly, for this like candid things. But I was born and raised in Center Point.
Okay, yeah. I've got family that we lived over in the Pinson area for a little while. Like that was like college time. My mom lived over there.
That's actually where I'm living now.
Okay.
So Pinson, yeah, it's nice. It's grown significantly. It's so busy around that area now.
Yeah. Well, I went to Jeff State out there, and that was like the first 2 years of college, and then I also worked at Fun Source. Do you know that on 78? Is that not 78? That's 79 out there.
79,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's all
But I don't
79.
think so.
Fun Source is like a moonwalk company. I worked there when I was in college, setting up moonwalks and water
Yes.
slides and all that kind of stuff.
Are they the ones with the Ferris wheel
Yeah.
out front? Is that
They
them?
are. Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Classic,
Yeah.
yes. I like grew up going by that
Yeah,
Ferris wheel.
yeah. And there's,
Like,
I don't know if y'all know this, but there's that house that's like right beside it that's underwater. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah, that
Yeah.
place floods
Yeah.
all the time.
oh, I know
Yeah,
what you're
yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, what a small world.
Yeah,
So,
we've probably crossed paths over and over again. Of course, you were probably being pushed in your mom's stroller while I was probably graduating college, but still, we were
yeah.
close to each other.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, what part of Hueytown were you in?
So I lived most of my childhood. We lived out in Rock Creek, Concord area, and then my early teenage years, we lived right next to the stadium in some apartments. And then my dad ended up moving out to Virginia Mines. That's where I lived most of my later teenage years, I guess. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. What about you?
Remember, I was right by the school, right by the elementary school. We would walk to elementary school every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know where that park is, right by the gas station. This is kind of vague, but you go up the road a little bit. There's a
It's
gas
like up on a
station.
hill where it's like
Yeah.
the dog park.
It's a dog park. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
like right in that area, that's exactly where I lived. I lived in the L house. There's an L house up there, and my parents, when they sold it, the people that moved in ended up getting evicted for selling drugs out of the house. Fun fact, right there.
Nice,
That's
nice.
how Hueytown is doing. with Wylam's right beside it, and it is not doing well at all. It was doing great whenever I was a kid, but yeah, not so much anymore.
Yeah,
It's
well,
pretty much all abandoned.
so I lived, my wife and I, when we first got married, we lived in Hueytown. We lived close. It's like close to where the Dairy Queen is, like down one of the back roads, and then just off of that, we lived there for, I guess, about 4 or 5 years before we moved out to Helena. So,
yeah, I still like Hueytown. That's where several of my family still lives. They live out in Pleasant Grove,
yeah,
which is like right down the street. Which I love Pleasant Grove. That's a good area.
yeah, that really changed after the tornado. Like just the landscape alone changed so much. My grandparents used to live out there, and I don't even know. I could tell you. I don't think I could tell you where their house used to be now, just because it's like unrecognizable.
Wow.
Oh yeah, did you go out there during the 2011 tornadoes?
Yeah. Oh, I went out there after it, and yeah, it's completely different than what it used to look like. Especially the area they lived. It was like one of the very back sections of it, out past the high school and stuff. The old high school, not the new high school. So,
Because that was those tornadoes were a mile wide. They were huge tornadoes. Wow. Yeah, I remember because several of my family lives up there, so we went up there to help them, and entire neighborhoods just completely flattened, completely wiped out. Those are crazy tornadoes.
Yeah. We were almost hit by those in Center Point. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
It ended up like passing our house and like hitting this big warehouse. Like I don't know, like maybe 5 minutes down the road. Completely decimated it though.
Yeah, it tornadoes. I mean, 98 when I was in high school. That was a big thing. Oak Grove got hit by the tornado then, and that's like a night I'll never forget. My grandmother was in her house, and it went right over her house and like took the roof off of it. We couldn't get to her. My mom literally like climbed over or through trees and walked around bodies. Like that was a crazy night that night. So
how old were you during this?
So 98, I was 15.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot to see for a 15-year-old.
I'm assuming the two of y'all were not.
98, I was 1 year old.
I was 4.
So, well, we were all in diapers, I'm sure. That's funny. Or pull-ups, I guess.
Right, yeah. I hope you're getting good content out of this. I don't know. This is really talking about filmmaking.
No, it's not. But I enjoy it. I mean, it's one of those things I've always said. I just enjoy getting to know people, and I really like talking about the work. But you got to get to know the people before you know the work. Because then you get to see some insight into maybe why their interests are the way they are, which I would say, and maybe this is a good segue. We didn't really talk a lot about your journey in this one, but y'all did tell me a decent bit about sort of how you got into video, and feel free to touch on that more if you want to. But I am curious about your work in general. And Jordan, if you don't mind, I'd love to lead into some of your stuff because you do have this sort of like darker, moodier kind of vibe to a lot of your stuff, especially just talking about what I see on your social media content. I mean, even your like bio image is you with this sort of, I mean, I'm almost going to say like Dracula kind of outfit, and I think you have like a contact, or maybe your eyes are naturally that way, but it looks like maybe you got some whited out eye or something. So
Yeah, I like edited out for like a dead eye kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I think that's a great, I guess, way to describe it. Like, ever since I was little, I've always been super into horror movies, and like Halloween was my favorite holiday. I grew up, my mom was a huge horror buff. So I was like 3 watching movies I probably really shouldn't have been watching. But I think it also, in a lot of ways, too, started my love affair for storytelling. Because when I was like, 3 to 4, whatever, um, in Centerpoint, during that period of time, like growing up, the power would go out all the time. I don't know if it was just terrible infrastructure or what it was. It didn't even have to be really storming, and the power would go out. So what my family would do is, when it wouldn't be storming outside, there wouldn't be like any lightning or anything like that, and our power would go out, we would go out on our deck, and then we would all roast marshmallows and tell ghost stories. And that was my first experience getting to see my siblings and my mom come up with like stories on the fly, or things that they had like heard, and like we were all like experiencing that together. And that, I remember, was some of the first horror shorts that I wrote as a kid, were based off some of the ones, or some of the things that like we would talk about. Like, for example, we had, where the deck sat, there was like a hill, and the hill would go into this like sewer drain, like big ditch that just where you had like the like a sewer pipe that would lead out to. And I remember my mom made up some like story about these like cat people that would live inside it and like would come out at night, and all these different stories. And I remember like that was one of the first stories I had written about. But yeah, like that horror and like the dark or macabre has always been like such a big fascination for me. So it's definitely intertwined itself, I think, into who I am as a person.
well, it's sort of a funny dichotomy or imagery of thinking of a mom in the room with her son, reading a story about good night construction site or something like that, versus reading the rat people that live in the sewer.
My mom, yeah, she used to go around like the house too and like freak my dad out. She would like hide in random spots. So I definitely blame her for why I'm the person I am.
I should be interviewing your mom right now. That sounds really interesting. So the very first thing I ever read to any of my kids, I think sets them up pretty well in life. It's The Jabberwocky. Are you familiar with the poem The Jabberwocky by Lewis Carroll?
It sounds familiar, but I don't
The
think
whole
so.
the whole thing is about cutting off a dragon's head and taking it back to a king. Or I guess in the story it's like the guy's father. He takes the head back to him. And so I'm like, I don't know. I feel like kids need a healthy dose of a little bit of fear and
Oh, absolutely.
mutilating an animal of some sort. Like that kind of stuff's healthy.
That's
Yeah,
the
healthy,
normal.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I turned out great.
Obviously. That's funny. That's funny. All right, so I want to talk about your company and the work that y'all do. I know we talked about, and of course it's always tough with multiple guests at one time. I do try to be fair. So, if at any point, Stephen, you feel like I've sort of pushed you aside, please. I mean, although we do know, again, Jordan's the star of the show, but tell me a little bit about Stratos and sort of how did you come up with the name Stratos, and then maybe some of the type of work that you do with Stratos now, because I understand y'all are doing, at least at one point, I know y'all pushed to do more commercial kind of stuff, because I think you were more of like film type or short film kind of videographers, or I say videographers, cinematographers maybe.
Yeah. So Stratos, it originally came about, I think in it's probably 2018, but it was kind of sat dormant for a while. But in 2020, I was working freelance at a studio, Cam Video Productions, if y'all remember that one. It shut down, but not shut down. They retired. The owners, Van and Ronnie, retired a few years ago. So in 2020, I started doing Stratos as a full-time gig. And it is kind of a combination of the two. The goal is to do commercials, but in a cinematic light. So because we both enjoy cinema so much and come from a history of doing cinematic content, we want to kind of bring that over to the commercial world. So yeah, Stratos is really, it wasn't formed out of want, it was formed out of need, because I needed to make money, and Stratos is that thing for me. So, but yeah, Stratos has been doing great. Primarily we want to do cinematic content, but I don't know what else. Oh yeah, the name came from I like space.
Came from what?
I like space.
Oh, space. Okay. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I know in y'all did a video at one point where you were sort of crowdfunding a portion of Stratos, and that video had this like little alien animated creature on it. Is that like I guess that would be a nod to the space kind of idea also.
Yeah. Well, what's weird is I don't know how you found out about that, because it hasn't been publicly released yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
I think it's on one of the YouTube channels.
Oh shoot!
It's on. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. It's on your YouTube channel. Let me see.
Crap.
That's classified information.
Helps if I spell Stephen right. Let's see.
It
Stephen
wasn't supposed to be
Coleman.
public, but yeah,
That's not
it's
right.
something that we plan on doing shortly.
Yeah, it's actually funny because we are planning on releasing that soon.
Yeah.
How soon? Like today now? Well, I say that. Like this video hasn't gone out yet. Here it is. This is it right here.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I'm outing you right now on Creating Creators podcast, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take that one down. Well, okay, so
well, just deny, take it off.
Yeah. So
that's not even me.
What we're that's AI generated. No, what we're wanting to do is, and this is something that we're going to touch on in a future video coming up soon. I want to kind of update, because I haven't been posting to YouTube, so I want to update everybody where I've been, because I've been doing some big projects, and that is one of them is the crowdfunding. That's something that we've been working on for a while now. We want to kind of build a platform for creatives, because creatives, we are really good at making stuff, not necessarily talking to people, outreach to people, marketing yourself, all that stuff that I think a lot of creatives fall short of. That's something that we want to supply. So we want to create this platform that creatives, they just come to us and we provide them work, and we handle all of the tedious and the annoying, communication, outreach, marketing, because that stuff is also expensive too. So we can handle all the marketing, and then of course, we work on deals where we create different tiers. We have a couple different plans that we need to kind of flesh out for this project. But we would love to create some sort of platform where we can supply jobs for creatives through marketing, through commercials, because there's a lot of jobs through branding and through marketing that people aren't aware of, or they don't have the resume, they don't have the backing in order to get these jobs. So if we can kind of come together collectively and build this sort of brand trust, that people know if they're going to go with Stratos, they know they're going to get quality, and we can hire out those people that might not have otherwise gotten that quality, or I'm sorry, might not have otherwise gotten that job.
Right.
We provide them the job, and then of course we have to keep the company afloat. So there'd be like a small percentage of, I don't know, 10%. We haven't fleshed that out yet, but yeah, that crowdfunding, that's something that we want to build this platform, because it is expensive to build a platform like that. So that's a crowdfunding project that we're going to have very soon. So we're going to be releasing the pre-campaign probably in the next week or two, and then after that, we're going to release the full campaign and hopefully get some funding and make this thing a reality.
Well, it's funny because I think whenever I was mentioning the alien, you acted like, where have you seen that at? And,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah. That's really funny. Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that, but I maybe accidentally put it on public instead of private. But yeah, that was not supposed to be a public release thing yet. But yeah, that's something that we've been working on for a minute now, and we're finally ready to release it, because we've been working on this project for going on probably close to a year now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Are you familiar with? And it's sort of funny, and it sounds really similar to another organization in the Birmingham area that also deals with like a space kind of theme to it. Do you know Gennard?
Gennard.
Gennard Archibald. If you look up just Gennard on Instagram, you'll find him. But he's oh goodness, gosh, I'm the world's worst person to ask how to spell something. But Gennard, he has a company that he works with right now that is called oh goodness, hang on, Supernaut, and Supernaut is super, and then Naut is NAUTE, maybe at the end. But Gennard I had on an episode recently, and Supernaut is basically a collection of creatives.
Okay.
Let me see. Yeah, We Are Supernaut is their Instagram handle.
We are super.
But you'll see immediately, like their branding is all. As a matter of fact, it's like AI generated branding that's very space focused. But their idea is, and like I said, I had a talk with him. I think his was not the last episode that I just released this week, but I think it was the one before that. And the whole idea of Supernaut is like a businesses will come to Supernaut, and then they'll sort of build like a custom team of creatives that sort of meet the needs. Now, I say all that to say, I'm not trying to say, oh, it's already been done. I'm not saying that at all. Right. What I'm saying is, I think what you're creating is obviously something that's needed, and something that's like other people are already like seeing that same need. And I think there's plenty of need out there for not just one organization to be doing that, but to potentially multiple organizations, even in an area like Birmingham. So,
which, I mean, there's competition is always good. I mean, it'll make us like want to do better and make them want to do better. And who knows, maybe we can get better rates for our creatives with competition out there.
Right. There you go. I like it. Well, and I love your branding for this. I mean, the Stratos is really cool, and then the actual branding for your video. Is it okay if I keep showing this, or do you want me not to?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, I plan on the next video releasing a teaser for this video, the one that you're playing
The
currently.
one that
No,
I'm spilling the tea about right now.
yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. Hey, that's all right. But is this a show reel? No, no, okay, that's the trailer. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Branding is something. Graphic design is something that I've always had a passion for. So I'm able to, because it's not my full time job. I'm able to kind of bring that over into the editing side because I spend a lot of time editing, and I take pride in my editing. And same thing with the branding with the website. We've gotten a lot of compliments from the branding on the website, which I'm really proud of. And same thing with the video. I think the video turned out really good.
Well, and I love the placement of the little alien guy, as well as your brand, like the name. I love the AI generated kind of
Yeah.
texture that you just sort of place in random places. It's really cool. At the I mean, this is such a great shot here where he's like out of focus on that little ledge.
Yeah.
It's cool. I like it. One of the
Appreciate it.
things, and I'll go ahead and I'm probably, this is probably my worst performance, so I apologize right now for that if I
You're
seem
fine.
a little scattered. But I want to talk about your YouTube channel, that you do, and I'm sort of using your, I guess, creative use of the alien as well as the text and sort of the chemistry that I see from y'all on this to go over to your YouTube channel, because I think your YouTube channel, what struck me right off the bat is, first of all, like, your local guys doing some, what I think is really impressive work.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
and I always love the fact that Birmingham locals are doing it, but then
Mhm.
also the fact that the two of y'all on camera, there goes my thumbs up, ignore that. But the two of y'all on camera is really just incredible to watch. Like the energy that y'all come in with, the comedy that you have. I wish I could play audio on here, but I've just decided I'm never playing audio on any of these, which is probably going to bite me at some point. But anyway, all that to say, I'm rambling, but I love what y'all do with your
Well, thank you.
YouTube
Yeah,
channel.
it's all an act. We actually hate each other. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
we can't stand each
We have a
other.
contract.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We're contractually obligated to work together, but yeah, we despise each other. No, we've been best friends for gosh, a long time now. I don't even know. We started working together. I reached, or one of us, no, you reached out to me. I had posted something on Instagram, and
Oh, right.
then Jordan said that he was working with a local film crew. This is back, like, I think I was still in high school at the time.
Yeah, this was probably back in like 2016, 15,
Yeah, yeah,
something like that.
something like that. Yeah, and we just started working together since then, and now we've got our YouTube, which the YouTube is by far my absolute favorite thing to do. I love doing that more than anything, more than doing the VFX supervisor, more than doing commercials, whatever it may be. Doing the YouTube, it's a creative outlet. You can do whatever you want. You don't have a producer or a director or a client over your shoulder saying, no, 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 this is how we want it. You know, we want this branding, this style, all this other stuff. You can. It's a completely clean plate that you can just do whatever you want, and it is a lot of fun. A
Well,
lot of fun
the
doing.
two of y'all's personalities shine through so great in these things. You feel so comfortable and casual. It doesn't feel scripted or like it's the 15th take of a moment. And I don't know if that's just what is reality, or I mean,
Yeah.
I'd love to know how many times you do have to retake some stuff, because I've tried to create YouTube content and I feel
Yeah.
like a blubbering idiot
Oh
every
yeah,
time
no,
I do
no,
it.
no, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly we are both blubbering idiots whenever it comes
Yeah,
to.
that's just
Yeah.
us. So.
Yes, it is awful. I mean, we're terrible. So okay, so the crowdfunding video, something that's kind of funny with that is there was a teleprompter that we had to read. Well, I'm sorry, we didn't have a teleprompter. We had a
Yeah.
laptop. So the issue is, I'm calling
Of
you out here.
course.
The issue is Jordan had to stare at the laptop to read his lines, so his eyes were always looking down. So I had to use this random AI program
Is it the
out in.
caption? I've heard captions is like an app you can use that will fix the eyes.
I don't know. This was over a year ago, so there wasn't
Okay.
any like
Probably the same
public.
technology.
Yeah, there wasn't any publicly accessed software that would do this. So this was some random guy in the middle of Asia somewhere that was in his apartment that made this software, and I was able to go in and crop out Jordan's eyes for every single shot and have to redo his eyes to where they're looking into the camera for the entire thing. So we were terrible on camera.
Yeah,
And
no, that was horrible.
Yeah,
and the place that we were filming at was
so
like
hot.
100 degrees.
Yeah.
There's
You were
no
out
AC.
at that's like a youth football field out in Trussville, isn't it?
Oh, we were talking about for the crowdfunding thing.
Yeah, for the
Oh,
crowdfunding,
yes.
yeah.
Okay.
But
my bad.
the place for the Barbie video, yeah, that was out in Trussville,
Yeah.
the Trussville Civic Center.
Yeah,
Yep.
that we totally got permission to film that.
Yep.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
No, but back to the video you're talking about. Then, sorry, this right here. This part was hilarious. The fact that you were gonna give everybody a tour of your Barbie world in a first person shooter kind of perspective. That was genius. Okay, props all the way on that.
My favorite part is the alien abduction that comes up. It's in a few seconds, but yeah, that was
that's my favorite part too.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, I keep talking over you. I apologize. I just wanted to go back to this warehouse you were talking about, this shot specifically, that you had to move his eyes, and then you're also saying something about the place itself was bad.
No, it's a great place. It's just a billion degrees. It's a friend of ours building.
I want to ask: is this by chance the same place or a similar place to where you filmed the giant stuff?
No. But we can't give away the location.
You've got complete permission here as well, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
We didn't sneak through a broken door to get in there. Well, we don't want to give away the location because it's a great location in Birmingham to film. If you're a filmmaker and you want to know about it, reach out to us on our Instagram because we'll be happy to tell you about it. But we don't want people knowing because if vandals come in there and spray paint it, it'll just ruin the look of the place. But it's such a gorgeous place to film. But yeah, if you want to know, let us know and we'll tell you in private.
And if you're an FBI agent that wants to know, please disclose that up front, and we'll tell you all the information.
Well, we did get permission years back from the Alabama Film Institute or something like that. They told us that we could go in there and we didn't have to ask for permission. So we took that. We just extended it a few years, but
yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, that seems to apply perfectly. Well, this whole, like, the talking head spots on this video with y'all walking through, tracking, it's beautiful. It really looks incredible. And again, y'all feel so natural on camera.
I appreciate it. I would like to do more of those because to me that one feels more like that type of content I don't feel like does very well on YouTube though. To me, I enjoyed it because it felt more like a TV show, like we had like an actual. But the issue is, I don't feel like, and I could be reading it wrong, but I don't feel like YouTube audience necessarily want that. They want more raw people, and this was all like very scripted, and it didn't perform well. It actually, I think it's our worst performing video, which we obviously just started, so none of our videos are performing extremely well. But but yeah, that type of format I enjoyed. Yeah, I just don't feel like people on YouTube in particular are not a big fan of it. But,
at least now, it's definitely one of those things where you have to find your niche, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it's that type of content is definitely out there. It's just probably hard to break into, which, hopefully we can.
Yeah, but I would like to do a mix of these type of videos to where right now, how it's the short film playing, I would like to do where basically this right now, where we're just sitting here and we're talking about a movie. Like I just recently watched Mouse Hunt. Have you ever watched Mouse Hunt?
Yeah, the old movie Mouse Hunt. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it has got some insanely good practical effects in it. I mean, I'm talking like, it is gorgeous.
Do you know who directed that? Gore Verbinski, who did the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy and The Ring.
Oh wow.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense because it is
incredible director.
It's a great movie, and it's gotten a lot of. I mean, it's gotten a lot of big talk about it many years later.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. I would love to do a video about that, and then but in a more casual setting rather than like the scripted thing that we did for this video, and then take an attempt at recreating some of the effects from that movie because it's a great movie, and it's got some really good practical effects that I think that stand up or hold up today, like without a doubt. I mean,
I agree. Yeah, it's a great movie and a hilarious movie too. That's what's
Oh
really
yeah.
great is whenever you can tie in like a really great story or comedy along with really great effects and just like a beautifully done movie in general. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's cool. Well, like I said, I'm a fan of your YouTube content. I look forward to the fact that hopefully things are maybe getting to where you can do more of this.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and I don't know, man. I'm a fan, like I said, of the fact that y'all are local, but I like this the more of like the TV show kind of vibe to it. But I also like when y'all are very raw and sort of feeling at least less produced in the case of like the stuff y'all did out here on this football field.
Yeah.
I really love the way that y'all take the cameras, your own phones, and just turn them on each other. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
only imagine how much editing like you had to go back and forth with, but it's
Yeah.
really great.
Well, I think because I think I even talked about it in this video. It was a challenge to do it in 48 hours, and I think it ended up taking me like 2 weeks to finish that video because there's a lot
It's
of like
close.
CGI. Yeah, I was like, I can do it. No, no, no. It's so far off, but it's a balance of because right now we're not making any money from YouTube, so it's hard to justify spending several days on it just working on the YouTube videos. So it's balancing that with work,
Right.
I plan on just pumping out YouTube videos consistently. So I want to make more videos that are a bit more tangible to make in a shorter period of time because like the videos that we're doing right now, they take so much effort and time that they're not necessarily super tangible to not tangible to super whatever to make
Simple
every
music,
single
yeah.
yeah to make every single week it's very hard to do that. So
Yeah,
because I would love
very
for
time
YouTube
consuming.
to be a full-time thing. That would be awesome. I
Yeah.
love doing YouTube videos.
I don't think anybody, until they get in it, even beginning to do it, nobody understands the amount of work that goes into really any kind of social content. But it feels like YouTube, especially at this kind of level that y'all are trying to do it at, that is
Yeah.
so time consuming. And now we're back. Now we're to the part that you were talking about, the abduction that you said was your favorite part. I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta show that at least. So
Oh, I'm wearing the same shirt. I just realized I'm wearing the same shirt.
we
Yeah,
need you picked up right now from this shot.
that's a this was the embodiment of the insanity. Like I felt like I was just going insane editing this video. So this was what actually happened to me in real life. Mm-hmm.
This was also like a last minute thing that you decided. So like I don't know what I remember what was going on. I remember having like a really busy work, like shooting week, and I was exhausted. And I want to say I was supposed to be going on a trip soon too.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to be done with the video, and then I get a call. Hey, I've got an idea. Are you free tonight? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. So I like begrudgingly drove to that back to that field
Yeah.
with like some light equipment and stuff. And then
Generator lights.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knocked it out in probably about half an hour to an hour, and then I got home and edited that and had it done. And by the next morning, it was a lot of work.
I do really like the fact that it's the two of y'all doing it because, like, I've been the one doing videos by myself, and it's so painful when, I mean, even just like getting behind the camera, getting it set up, getting back in front, realizing, oh man, I'm out of focus and it all, like, all of the troubles that come with doing video by yourself. The fact that the two of y'all can brainstorm together, feed off each other's energy, like y'all seem to do in these videos. But
Yeah.
then also just the physically having another set of hands to do this stuff. Although it seems like Jordan, whenever it came to the editing, you were sleeping somewhere, not working at all while he was doing all the editing. Is that sort of the way
Yeah,
this works?
I'm the manager. I call and say, hey, is it done yet?
Are you done? Come on, hurry up.
That's
I'm
funny.
putting so much effort into sleeping over here. Come
I'm
on.
like, I'm doing a lot of work here. I'm eating popcorn, watching a movie.
Doing the
Yeah,
research.
Yeah,
The research, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it is really nice to have multiple people working on these projects. It is really difficult though to coordinate schedules. So that is one thing that doing a video by yourself
absolutely.
is
I think one thing too that we're both very used to is having to do a lot of stuff by ourselves. Like back when I was shooting with friends, like before I really started, doing any like career paid work, I shot, a bunch of short films with some friends, and these are a lot of people that weren't in the film community, didn't care about filmmaking. They just wanted to, make a video with me and help me out because they were, my friends.
Just friends, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, which was great. I absolutely loved it. But there's only so much that they know how to do or are willing to do because it's not really their passion for it. So I spent like a many years just being everything from sound, gaffing, cinematographer, director, and Steven was the same way.
Oh,
where
yeah.
he just
Yep.
had to do everything.
Yeah, you have friends that want to help out, but they don't know what to do. So it's like, hey, I appreciate it if you could just, act goofy in front of camera, and then I'll handle it all in post. And, yeah, but it's fun to do. It's a lot of fun. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this if we didn't enjoy it.
Right.
Well, that is one of the best things about this kind of stuff is that it is so much fun to do, but then at the same time, there is a career path that is available to people. I mean, you can actually make money doing sort of funny, creative videos.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Which, I mean, my income has been purely commercial work from the past, since I began doing freelance. So I think that's why something with Stratos is why I'm still really passionate about making that platform to hire creatives to do that commercial work, because that's still something that I have a lot of experience in. But I would love to get to the point where I can delegate all that work to the freelancers, have them make all of the money from that, and then have my time dedicated to doing the YouTube videos and things like that. I would love to do something like
that'd
that.
be great.
That sounds like, it sounds like a dream opportunity that might be a reality. I mean, assuming that we're able to get this Stratos off the ground, right?
Yeah. It's been on the ground for several years, so we'll see.
Do you need some bald 40-year-old man that's involved in some way? I would imagine there's got to be.
Hey, if you want to be a guest on one of the Stratos episodes, we would be more than happy to have you on.
I would love to be, man. I'll be the big giant, or probably I'll just be some weird guy in the back walking back and forth like he's lost. I could be that. Yeah, just pick my nose and everything. So I do want to. I want to talk about creativity, and I sort of hesitated to do this. I thought about going more of like the VFX kind of route with y'all because that does seem to be a big part, at least, of your YouTube content. But just looking at sort of all the stuff you do, the word creativity, I think, just popped into my head. And I think it's one of those things that I think a lot of people are intimidated by. I was always the guy that didn't feel very creative. I don't feel like I'm a very like out of the box kind of thinker. I mean, first of all, I feel like I'm just getting old at this point. So I don't feel like I have even the youth of creativity. But at the same time, I also feel like creativity can be learned. So tell me a little bit of your thoughts on creativity, maybe how your process on coming up with the ideas that y'all do, whether it's in the commercial work or whether it's YouTube or really any of the stuff you do.
I feel like we're not necessarily creative. We're just autistic.
That would probably be the best way to describe that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really know. I
throw on some tunes and come up with ideas. I'll act like an idiot. I'll get up, I'll put music on, and then if I'm trying to like come up with an idea, I'll just like kind of walk around the room and like do weird, like if I'm acting out something, I'll act it out and then write it down. I think everybody just does creativity in their own different ways.
Yeah, I feel like it's I don't really know how to describe it. It's different things depending on what I'm working on. Like, like horror is definitely I would say my biggest passion. And I think the last, not even just horror films, some things that weren't horror films. Yeah, music videos. Yeah, a lot of the ideas from those came from just like nightmares that I had that I took from and spun it into like a story. And then sometimes, it's just like a random thoughts. Like we actually shot a horror film back in 2018 called Abandoned.
Mm-hmm.
And that came about from me and him exploring this this old girls correctional facility that was like shut down for like many years. It just was us walking around, and I had
ideas.
Had that idea. We took it and ran with it, and then ended up making like a 5-6 minute short film out of it.
Yeah.
Does
Another
it?
thing.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, what were you saying?
Well, I was going to say, does it seem to be helpful having the two of you? I mean, there's times y'all have worked alone or separate. The creativity, does it seem to really flourish the more that the two of y'all get to do projects together?
Oh yeah,
Absolutely,
absolutely. Yeah. I'd say even if it's not like a project that we're working on together, if you can find somebody to bounce ideas on, like my old boss Van, we would just sit there and it was funny because I'm supposed to be working and so is he, but the entire day we just sit there and bounce funny ideas off of each other. So it really is. It's just a matter of finding somebody that you work well with and then bounce a lot of ideas off.
Right. Yeah. I think Steven was really my first filmmaking friend because all the friends I had, they, like I said before, they weren't into it. And then I remember becoming friends with Steven and like discovering that
Will was
Will. Yeah. That
not full-time.
Yeah, not full time. But yeah, it went from like having somebody with that equal interest that was as like what's the word, passionate about it, yeah. And that was great just alone. I remember becoming becoming a lot more, I think, productive in trying to grow my filmmaking skills and whatnot.
One thing, touch on the creativity side of it. I'm not a huge fan of the director. Jordan's not either, but Quentin Tarantino had a really good point talking about, which I'm sorry if you're a big fan of Quentin Tarantino.
I'm crying on the inside right now.
Well, he is a good director, but he made a really good point talking about how a good artist creates a great artist stills, which I think is something that people need to acknowledge, is that you don't always have to come up with every single aspect. Like whenever I was a kid, I would try drawing, and I would always try drawing from memory, and it always came out terrible until I started using references like images of dogs or whatever, and I could draw it, and the images always turned out better. And that's the same thing with like film. Is if you have an idea for a scene, instead of coming up with from ground zero, get a foundation. So watch a scene that you like from a movie that's similar in a way, and just build off of it. So make the changes that you want, and just make it your own. So you're not necessarily plagiarizing this already pre-existing scene. You're just using it as a really good foundation in order to. So you don't have to make it from ground zero, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people feel obligated to do, or it feels like you're stealing in a way, which is not the case. You're taking something that's pre-existing and making it your own.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking like with what's the place now where you can get all the screen grabs from movies and stuff?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name of it though, but yeah,
I feel like it's a simple name too. It's like screen grab or screenshot.
I forget the name of the website, but what I was saying is like I think the same thing with references. It's not necessarily, if you get one reference and you're literally copying everything from that one reference, that I feel like is more of that idea of like stealing maybe, or copying a little bit too much. But if you have multiple references, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like you have multiple inspiration points. Well, now that's a unique recipe of all of those references that goes into what you've now made. Did you find out the name of the website?
I did not. Okay. But yeah, that's like, let's say like, I'm not sure what it is, but let's say like, one thing that's really good is Pinterest. Pinterest is something that I think us as artists can really take advantage of, because Pinterest has so much creativity on it. And if you cater it towards like your own specific style, Pinterest will, is it just called Film Grab?
Is it Film Grab?
Not Film Grab.
No, but that is one, but it's not Film Grab.
Well, let's promote it, because it's the smaller one, probably needs promoted.
There we go.
Sponsored by Film Grab.
But yeah, Pinterest is a really good place to get inspiration for different projects.
I've got my coworker Cole Peavy. He actually he uses Pinterest for, like, he does a lot of sports graphics, and he uses Pinterest for that kind of stuff. Like he's got, like, I guess he's tailored his Pinterest feed to where that's sort of what it populates now. It's tons of inspiration you can find there, definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that's another aspect of like people who not necessarily want to be more creative, but like maybe like you said, learn to be more creative. I feel like you have to find. I don't know. I feel like it comes from passion of just loving art in general. Because like I grew up with the youngest of three siblings, and I was exposed to so much, video games, movies, and music from them, and that stuff was just so important to us. Like we had so much, so much of that like art that we would intake from all those mediums, and I think that's really, pushes out the stuff that you want to make, but also kind of just gives you ideas, but establishes some kind of idea in your head of what makes a good story or what makes this piece of art or whatever good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you almost need to see and hear good stories to know and recognize a good story,
Right.
and then be
Yeah.
able to produce a good story yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and also another thing that is really important is if you're a beginner filmmaker or creative in general, if you're whatever it may be, musician, just start making stuff and release it. Because I think that's something that we all struggle with is you make it and then it's like, oh, this isn't good enough to show the world. It doesn't matter. Just release it and then work on the next one and the next one. Eventually,
Right.
you will become good.
that's exactly what what the next slide is. And I would say just to piggyback on that, I think YouTube is one of those spaces where if people are trying to start creating, and I'd say that probably across the board with any kind of social media, um, when you first start, you have the smallest audience that you're ever going to have.
Hmm.
Like why not just put it out? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's less risk. It's not like people are going to be like, oh my goodness, look how horrible this is. Nobody's going to see it. It's
yeah.
like
And
just put it out there.
yeah, and as long as you're like a genuine person on YouTube, I feel like people are, at least the experience that we've had is people are genuinely very supportive. Like we had a short that went really well. It was just me thanking people for like 100 subscribers, and the next day I woke up with 1,000 subscribers, and everybody was just super super kind and supportive inside of the comments. So it's like if you acknowledge that I know what I'm doing right now is not the best thing ever. But this is what I'm doing, and I'm looking for advice. People are going to be willing to give you advice, as long as you're not cocky and like this is the greatest thing. Because I feel like that's you're asking for people to criticize you if that's the case. But just be genuine with people and say, hey, this is something I made. What do you think? How can I improve it?
Right.
Yeah.
I hope that made sense.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, to him it did definitely. He's sitting right there. You could hit him if you wanted to. So that's funny. Well, what if somebody was wanting to get involved with what you are doing with Stratus right now? Is there an opportunity at all to go ahead and get on the front end of becoming one of your, I guess, creatives that might work with y'all at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to reach out, if anybody wants to reach out, go to our Stratus website. And no, I'm sorry, I wasn't telling you, Brian.
No, no, no. I'm gonna pull it up. I'm pulling it
Okay.
up so people can see it.
Gotcha. But yeah, if people want to work with us and they want to be part of the YouTube channel, by all means, we love the community, we love Birmingham, and we love filmmakers, and we just love talking to artists.
Yeah.
So yeah, if people want to work with us, by all means, we would love to do a video with you. If you've got a video idea, hit us up. Even if you don't have a platform for YouTube, but you're like, hey, I've got a video idea, hit us up and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah. I think that's another thing we wanted to provide with Stratus too was if a person is just a complete, amateur or beginner that has not, done anything. I think it's really, especially if you don't live in Birmingham, I think it's really hard to find people that share that passion. And
Yeah.
then, it's a cutoff point of like, people might not feel like they want to, step into some ground where they may feel unwanted or, whatever that might, be.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I've worked on like a lot of, short films recently, and I've had people very interested in what we were doing, and they were hesitant to join in because they thought they weren't going to be wanted.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to, you know, realize there's a lot of people that share your passion, and that there's a lot of great people in the community that, you know,
Yeah.
if they just need somebody to kind of introduce them to, you know, I think we really want Stratus to be kind of that.
That's one thing that we're wanting to do, that I'm just saying, We Are a Supernaut is not doing it. They're super not doing this. What we want to do.
Wow.
Take that, Supernaut.
But what we want to do is we want to build, no shame, but we want to build up like multiple tiers. So we want to have like kind of that, because we know we come from a place of becoming a big beginner artist and trying to make a career out of it. It's so difficult to get a job, because it's like, how do you get a job if you don't have a portfolio? You know,
Right.
in order to get a portfolio, you have to have a job. It's very difficult. So one thing that we want to do with Stratus is create different tiers. So we have like our kind of our low budget tier, which is, it sounds bad, but I don't really want to paint it out in a bad light. Let's just say if it's a local company that, like a mom and pop shop that might not have a large budget for their restaurant, for their social media or whatever. Well, we want to provide them with content, and also provide the beginners with an opportunity. So, we make sure that their quality stands up, and we check it every single time that they were to make content for a restaurant or for whoever, to make sure it meets our standards. But we still want to give those beginners the opportunity to show what they have, because otherwise it's going to be very difficult for them to get the foot in the door. And
Right.
we would hate to see somebody that wants to spend their life doing creativity or doing creative work and end up having to work a 9 to 5 that they hate because they couldn't find work because of, the barrier of entry.
Yeah. I feel like so many people in the creative field, they are where they are because of somebody else's kindness. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like somebody gave them a chance, somebody taught them something, somebody just said, "Hey, come on, you can join me in this." And I think a lot of people, because of that, sort of want to turn around and do that for the next generation. So
Yeah.
it sounds like that's like you are right in line with doing it, as well as Supernaut might be. So
No shade on Super.
no.
But yeah, I mean, absolutely, because I mean, I would not have been able to make it where I am today without the amazing people that I've met over the years. Just to name a few, Van Cook, which is the owner of Cam Video Productions, he took me on their company years and years and years back, and I mean, that was a huge opportunity that he gave me. And ever since then, whenever they retired, they sold their company to Image Hive, and with one of the agreements that Image Hive would take me on board. And now I do a lot of freelance with Image Hive, and it's just the kindness of their hearts. And same thing with a good friend of ours that we met about last year, Alan Oakman, which I don't know if you're familiar with Alan Oakman.
I'm not.
But he's an incredible guy, and he's given us a lot of opportunities, and just has been a really good mentor, because we don't have any previously we didn't have any business experience before starting this adventure. But Alan has been just amazing. I mean, he's given us so many opportunities, meeting lawyers and financial advisors and all kinds of different things. And he's not charging us. He's just a guy that cares about filmmakers. And that's something that we would love to pass on, is if we get to this position of we have the opportunity to give the beginner guys a chance, we want to be able to give those guys a chance, because we were given that chance. And we're extremely thankful for that.
That's cool. I like it, man. I think I think what you are doing is something that, with the reasoning behind it, it doesn't seem like it can go bad. It can't fail as long as. I mean, as long as you've got the people, like you can connect with the people's the main thing, because I think what you're doing is needed. And then I think, especially the tier system you're talking about, sounds like a great idea, because then it does give those companies that, like you said, just don't have the budget for the big stuff. It gives them an opportunity, but then also, I mean, you just got that sort of upward mobility of your creatives as well. So
yeah, which I know there's several companies out there, which I don't want to name any of them, but in Birmingham there's several companies that won't work with a company unless they have like a certain budget of like 20,000 or 30. Yeah, and we would love to work with budgets like that, but we also don't want to cut off the low guys, because I mean, also like the small projects are the ones that, this is something I learned in 2020. Small projects are the ones that keep you afloat in hard times like that.
Yeah.
The big ones, they no longer have the budget to be able to spend that money. So the small guys are the ones that, yeah, help you pay your bills.
I feel like, yeah, they'll keep coming back. While if it's something that's a huge budget, it might be like once in a blue moon, here and there kind of thing.
Probably like super not.
So when are y'all actually launching officially? Do you have an actual date?
Not yet. So I'm gonna make this video. We'll make it the YouTube video soon. That will be the soft release, and then or the pre-campaign, and then we'll be releasing that GoFundMe, that crowdfunding, in several weeks following that. So no specific date set yet, but to be determined.
I like it. All right. Are you going to take your video down that's public right now?
Yes, yes, I am. Yeah, after this call, I'm going to remove it. That is so embarrassing. I had no idea. Well, what's funny is I was making a change to the Stratos website months and months and months ago, and I hadn't published it. I didn't, because it's on Wix, so there's like you can publish it and it'll publish whatever work you did. Well, I never published it because I was still working on it. It was a store for like buying merchandise, and my dad had called me one day. He said, "Hey, you've got a spelling error on one of your pages." So I went in there, quickly changed the spelling error, and clicked post and or publish the web page. Several months later, I was looking at the website and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a whole unfinished score on here that I had accidentally published, had been on there for months, and nobody said a single word about it. Either that's a good thing or a bad. It's probably a bad thing because that means nobody.
Nobody ever saw it.
Yeah. Super embarrassing though. But yeah, after this, I'll definitely be deleting that from my YouTube. It's horribly embarrassing.
Well, are you going to allow like an early preview of the Creators audience? I mean,
Yes.
there might be 20 people out there that see this.
You have full rights.
Exclusivity.
Yeah.
Nice.
We would be honored. Yes,
yeah,
we would be honored to have you preview it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Is there, what's next as far as like, I mean, obviously we've talked about Stratos and sort of that sort of, I don't know, what are you calling it? Like a collective, an agency?
Yeah, creative agency. So it's going to be because it's not necessarily going to be just video, because there's all different types of creatives out there, like musicians, graphic designers, whatever it may be. So we do want to offer them jobs as well. So if a company needs a logo, then we plan on hiring graphic designers.
Yeah. What's next for y'all in the other things you're doing? I mean, what's next as far as your YouTube content? What's next for your commercial work that the two of y'all are doing right now? Anything on the horizon in other areas?
Well, do you have anything? Because I've got two things.
Go ahead with yours.
Well, so in 2020, I had mentioned earlier about the movie that a buddy of mine co-directed.
In your house.
In my house, yeah, that we fully set dress. And we had been working on that for 4 years now, coming on 5 years. And we had the budget for the movie, but we don't have the budget for post-production. So that's something that is a big project for me. I've got the trailer and have the trailer finished, and so now we're going to be sending it out to investors and hopefully get a post-production budget, and then we can finally release it to film festivals. So we'll hopefully get a distributor, pick it up and run with it, but we'll see. So that's one big project. And then
can you tell us anything about the sort of concept behind that video?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's called Maintaining Mac Messings. It's a thriller. It's an hour and a half long thriller. It's about a guy that it's a young man. He's about 23 years old, and the movie starts off with he's walking away from a fire and a car crash, and the father and his sister are stuck inside of the car. We hear a lady talk about or scream like there's still a dad or a man and a child in the car, and he's kind of walking away, traumatized, blood on him, whatever. We cut to the present day, and the story is about him with a mentally abusive and manipulative mother. She kind of blames him, not even kind of, she blatantly blames him for the death of her husband and daughter. So she uses that as kind of a a control mechanism to keep him inside of the house, and manipulates him. Well, he's trying to get away, because, well, she's a very abusive mother. So him and his girlfriend Nia, Mac and Nia, they decide they're going to move out. I'll make this quick. This is
No, you're good.
The climax, and then as he agrees they're going to move out, and so he's going to sneak out of the house because he knows how his mother reacts. She tends to overreact to situations like these. Says that he's not ready for it, all this other stuff. So he's sneaking out. He has his bags. He sets them by the top of the stairs. Well, he hears his mother call out to him because she's in the kitchen, and he goes over there. This whole argument blows up, and she runs over the stairs to grab his bags, and Matt grabs her, and he grabs her by the arm. And she's like, "You're not ready to move out." She blames him, blatantly blames him for killing his dad and his sister, and it's like, "You're going to leave me now." And so Mac, she pulls away, and Mac, does a whole little number, and she ends up falling down the stairs. And cut to the hospital. It turns out she snapped her neck, and she has stage 4. I think it's C4 quadriplegia, which is I think it's C4 quadriplegia. It's been so many years since we wrote this, but it's basically nearly fully paralyzed from the neck down. So she has limited motor functions in her arms and her legs. So she can't function on her own. Well, Mac, because Mabel doesn't work, she used to work, but because of her, she has severe depression, all this other stuff. Mac is having to basically take care of her. And this is now a way, or he believes that this is a way that she's using to control him. So the doctor says that there's a slight possibility that she'll be able to regain motor control or motor movement. So there's a bit of paranoia that happens. So there's a light switch that turns on, or the door is locked, or things like that. Things that she shouldn't be able to do on her own because she's bedridden. He has to carry her around with a wheelchair, and this paranoia builds up. So that's kind of the midpoint of the film. Is this whole paranoia starts to build up, and because she's so manipulative and she's been so abusive to him for his entire life. And I don't want to ruin the end, but
yeah,
it comes to a climax, and he gets fed up, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. But I think it's a good film, but we'll see if the audience thinks.
Yeah, I still have not seen this in its entirety. I've seen the teaser, trailer. And obviously, I was in the house while they were filming it.
Sleeping while they were filming it,
right,
probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen and what I know about it, it is genuinely Steven, being my best friend aside, it is genuinely an amazing film. Yeah, a terrible film. It's just
It gives me a Misery kind of vibe to it. You know what I mean? Like the movie Misery. That's
no.
It's a Stephen King.
Stephen King Misery. It was a book that they did a movie, but it's I don't know. It's got a little bit of that to it. It sounds like, just based on hearing it. So
I'll have to check it out.
The best way I can describe the film, and whether Steven likes this, I don't know.
Go for it.
But the best way I can describe it is it feels very genuinely like something you would see from A24.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Jack and I are a big fan of Ari Aster, which I feel like everybody that's a filmmaker is like, yeah, Ari Aster's the best director. Well, we watched Hereditary. We're like, hey, this is it. We're gonna basically this is the new age of horror. So we went with that whole route.
With that said, though, from what obviously I haven't seen the full thing, but from what I've seen and what I know of the script and everything, it's definitely influenced. It's genuinely its own thing, though, and it feels like its own thing within the realm of A24 quality.
Yeah. We were in the fact that it's like the Hereditary thing. It's more of, we were going from the horror approach of, it's not the supernatural. It's more of the relationship dynamic of abusive situation. So that's where the horror comes from, that, and what the human mind is able to endure as far as just straight up mental torture, as far as abuse and manipulation. Yeah.
Well, you've got me. I mean, just hearing the story, whenever it got up to the climax, I'm like, I felt like I was edging up a little bit, trying to, what's happening? What's going to happen next? So
I sent you a link if you want to watch that. I've got that's the trailer. So it's going to go out to hopefully to some backers or potential backers, and hopefully we can get a budget and get this thing done with, because my goodness gracious, it's been a long time
coming.
Yep. But
All right. And I'm going to ask you something, and no is a perfectly acceptable answer. But would you be at all interested in the idea of me linking that below?
yeah,
You
absolutely, yeah.
sure?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
let me change the title of it, but yeah, I'd be more than happy to have you link it. That I have no problem with it. I don't have it public yet, but I plan on posting it. I tell you what, let me send you a different link because I'm
Okay.
going to upload it onto the Stratos website because this one's on my personal. I'll upload it to the Stratos YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and then I'll send you a link to that, and I'll probably make it public. When is this episode going to come out?
I think this will be in August.
Okay, perfect. So it'll be live by then. So that'll be perfect.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I love that. That sounds great. So Jordan, he sort of stole the show from you there. Is,
Okay, just cut all of that out.
Sorry.
yeah. Now the real interview starts.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The thing is, I can't follow up on that at all. Mine is very,
No,
very.
no. Jordan's got some incredible music videos that he's been working on. I think he's been staying humble this whole time about them, but he's been doing some work that is. I mean, it is top notch. It is. I'm sorry to any other music video film directors in Birmingham, but it really is. It is the best work coming out of Birmingham, and that's coming from more of a fan than a friend. I mean, it really is. It's
Are any of these that are on here right now? Are these the videos that would be music videos? Where can I see those music videos?
I can link them to you. So
Okay.
a lot of this hasn't been updated. A lot of those are new from this year, honestly.
Okay.
Along with a few from like last year that I really would care to send to show you.
Okay.
But um, typically what I do is I don't put any of that stuff. Like I'm working on a new reel right now, but I don't put any of that stuff on because the deals I make with bands or musicians, and it's theirs to use, so it's put on their
Right.
YouTube and all
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I can send you that. But yeah, there's a lot of music videos that have come out or are going to be coming out throughout the year that I'm really excited for. Some really incredible artists. I genuinely have not really worked with any band or artist where I didn't really love. So I've been really lucky working with so many talented artists.
like Ricky Tate.
Yeah, like Ramlin Ricky Tate is a local like folk blues artist around here. He's incredible. I've shot all of his music videos since 2021, I believe. In fact, he was one of the first artists that I started working with when I was completely on freelance.
Which I'm pretty sure can we upload those music videos to the website?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll upload them to the website so it'll be updated.
Yeah.
In the next few days.
Yeah.
But
But
are some of these, as far as like your Instagram, like do you promote that on Instagram, or is that also not where you put stills or clips from that?
it is. I don't do a good job recently of
So you don't promote yourself at all.
See, that's why we need Stratos.
Stratos. I know some guys I'm gonna go to. It's been so I am getting married in October. I'm getting married in October, and I've also been working on.
Not to me, to
yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, to both of you.
But I've also been working on some. I'm working with a man who wrote and produced a series, and I can't really talk about that for NDA stuff that I signed with him. So
Totally respect that.
Yeah, but it's got very very substantial backing on that.
Thank you. Yeah. Well,
that's the
Anyway,
stop it.
It's Steven Spielberg. He's working with it.
I don't want to say, but with all of that's been going on, it's been very hectic. I've written like 3 scripts that I was aiming to film like my own personal projects that I was aiming to film this year, and we ended up filming a little bit of one, and then that day was a bust, and I just haven't.
It's just been work. It's so hard to make fun projects when you're working.
Yeah, I've definitely been caught up in the work has to come first, especially with the wedding and planning and getting all that set up. So this year has been productive without being productive, if that makes any sense.
Well, your fans are suffering. I'm just letting you know that right now. So
yeah. Sorry guys. This is I'll do better.
Perfect. But, we expect as much. So
yeah, hopefully next year I'll have a lot more to like own my personal projects I'll be able to release. Right now I'm just hunkering down and trying to survive this year.
So I've got one last question, but before I hit that, I want to, I guess, figure out, it seems like we've got a couple of common connections. And I just want to ask about a couple of people, Sonny and Pierre, right? You know the two of them? Okay. Mm-hmm. And it looked like y'all did some of their stuff for, I forget what they call it, like Man Nails or
Men and Nails.
Yes. Men and Nails. That was it. Men and Nails. Yeah.
Yeah. I shot that. I don't know. Gosh, 2022.
Right. It's been a while. But it
was 2023 because he actually, well, I take it back. It could have been 2022, but he submitted it for a Telly Award and it won last year.
That was them coming off that jet, and then they had the old like vintage cars and they were all dressed in the suit, smoking the cigars, and it was cool, man. It had a great look to it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All for a manicure set, right?
Yep. He like came to me. He was like, "I want to do a Peaky Blinders style commercial," and I was like, "Absolutely, that sounds incredible." We didn't, we couldn't have snuck into where the jets were, but like, so Sonny's now wife, her dad, I believe, I could be wrong. He works for whatever for whatever company that was, and they managed those private jets. So he got us in there. And I remember as we were driving through, he was telling us, he was like, don't get left behind, because if you do, security's going to come and you're going to go to jail. So we were like, just driving.
There's no sketchiness to this at all.
No. Full permission.
Just like everything we do. Just
exactly. Well, that was a really great shoot. And then I see Brett Carlisle.
Oh, wait. Brett Carlisle. Is that
All or Nothing, their band?
Oh, yes. I shot a live performance. Actually, Steven helped with that too. I shot a live performance for them at Iron City forever ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Pierre, I ran into him. Well, actually, it was Sonny I ran into. And then I got the two of them to come out and talk to my class when I used to teach marketing. And they were UAB students at the time. They had started their videography company. And so they came and sort of shared with my students. Well, then we found out that Pierre, because I was teaching at Calera at the time, Pierre actually graduated from Calera High School. So I didn't know that until they showed up, because I'd only met Sonny. And then Brett Carlisle, I used to teach at Oak Grove High School. And Brett Carlisle graduated from Oak Grove. We were trying to do a concert with this one band. That didn't end up working out. Brett reached out to me and he was like, "Hey man, I'd love to do a fundraiser for the school. We'd like to do a rock concert." And I'm like, "Dude, that sounds incredible. I'd love for that to happen." Cause I had just one had just fallen through for me. And it's still one of the greatest days I've ever had as a teacher, was when All or Nothing came and did this concert, man. It was literally, I want to pull it up to be honest, but it was one of these moments where they brought the most legit lighting setup. They had an incredible sound system. And now there's no way it's going to pull up for me.
That's cool.
But it really was do what?
do they play music appropriate for the audience, for the kids?
Definitely. They did like all these '80s cover like rock music. I mean, it was perfect.
That shoot we did was the first time I had saw them live, and they were great.
Yeah.
I was really enjoying while we were shooting.
Yeah, really good stage presence. Who's the main guy?
Brett Carlisle.
Yeah, really good stage presence.
Yeah, he was great, and he's got that voice. I mean, how high up he can get and stuff is just it's crazy. It's not going to be on here because of the fact that well, I'll show you. This was us just sort of promoting it. We called it the OG Rock Fest, and so we did like a neon sort of like I guess like a '90s kind of vibe, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
But then All or Nothing, they performed at it. So we did like photo shoot with them beforehand. It really was incrable. But
probably you're the coolest teacher too.
At the time, maybe so. Not since.
Yeah.
I mean, I've gotten a lot older, but anyway, it was really cool. And then we had a group. Do y'all know Lunch Lady Land with Adam Sandler? It's like a Saturday Night Live skit. So we had a kid get up on stage and a group of them perform Lunch Ladyland, where one like this big giant football player is dressed up like a lunch lady. So it really is. I'll send you a link to that video so you can check it out because it really is like one of the greatest days I've ever had as a teacher. So
yeah, that's awesome.
It was really fun. So all right, all that to say, now who inspires you? Where do you get your inspiration from? Who do you think like pushes you to be a better creative? Is there somebody that maybe you personally work with or somebody you admire that pushes you to a new level?
I tell you what, give me like 5 seconds. I gotta run the restroom, and then I'll be right back. I'm holding this whole thing.
5 minutes later.
I'm just gonna take over.
Yeah.
Like, well, my personal inspiration.
Yeah.
Let me think. So I would say for people that like are artists that I've grew up with or started to watching their films and stuff. Gosh, I would say. Are you familiar with I'm trying to think of his name. Adrian Lin.
Adrian Lin. No. Is that
he did? Are you familiar with the movie? I'm trying to think of his like most popular movie. He did Jacob's Ladder, and he did the name escapes me. It's
How do you spell his last name?
Lynn, I believe.
Is it? Okay. I wasn't sure if there was like another Adrian Lin. And this is a director?
Fatal Attraction. Are you familiar with Fatal Attraction?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Yeah. That's director. I love that director so much. He to me is one of the biggest inspirations that I've had, at least with my own personal projects in cinema. I'm trying to think of someone personal though.
Adrian Lin.
Yes.
Yeah, Jacob's Ladder, Flashdance, Indecent Proposal, Fatal Attraction. Okay.
Yeah, he was a master at like blending drama and horror together and like doing something so different with it when it came to like Jacob's Ladder, where it felt like he was probably the first of that line, that people put Ari Aster in, where it's not just horror, but it's focusing on some other aspects, and a more like psychological aspect to it as well. Adrian Lin, what he did with Jacob's Ladder, it was a film about a Vietnam War veteran, but
PTSD.
with PTSD and like all these other issues in his life, and it took that and took his own personal demons, and everything within the film represents those struggles. And to me, that was just it's such a great film.
Is it like I haven't seen this one, but is it like like the fears and anxieties like manifest themselves in like physical things throughout the movie, like other people?
Yes. So I'm trying to because I don't want to give it too much away. I think you
Right.
definitely need to go see it.
I'm going to. I will watch it this
Yeah,
week.
it's a really movie.
But it's pretty much a lot of like traumas within his life manifesting themselves. Like for example, he during a significant battle within during Vietnam, he ends up one of his friends ends up falling, hitting his head, and starts having a seizure. And you see his friend having a seizure, and then later on in the movie, one of the like visions are like hallucinations, whatever you want to say, of what he sees for the monster is this man's head like spinning really fast. Like there's a lot of blur to it, and it's those things where he took meaning behind each of like the monsters or the ghost or the demons or whatever, uh, and gave them more than just your typical like, oh, it looks scary, go with it kind of thing.
The concept too is that what gave him all his PTSD was that the government was testing drugs. That's not giving away that's in the trailer.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it's in the trailer.
What is it? An official trailer?
I think so, yeah. But it's they're testing drugs, and so that's kind of their whole thing is that they're trying to figure out what the government was doing, what they actually saw, all this other stuff, and so that's what gives them PTSD throughout this entire movie is these, and also different events that happened in his life.
Yeah, I was about to say the movie. One thing I love about the movie is it's great at, to me, horror.
Just lick itself. Jordan's going to do that after this video's over.
Yeah, I'll be right back. But to me, horror is a good horror. Blends together this perfect, I guess, blend of telling you, enough for that you need to know, but also leaving mystery and things that they will never tell you and they won't let you know. It's for you to interpret. And I like that one.
I think of the movie Halloween. They talk about so many times in that movie, you don't ever see the actual, like you don't see Michael Myers. You hear things. It's the music, it's the suspense, it's the anticipation of sort of the fear that gets you. Like it's the psychological element much more so than the actual physical element.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I think that is in a lot of things, even like going back to movies like Jaws. Like the original way that Steven Spielberg wanted to do Jaws was you see the shark way more. Like I think the first scene when the woman dies, you see the shark, and they couldn't get the shark to work. It kept malfunctioning. So then they went with just POV of the shark and you not seeing anything for, however long in the movie.
Right.
And that ended up working out so much better because it was that vision that people had in their heads that was really building it up. And I think, honestly, the less you see of something, the scarier it's going to be. Because the more time you have to see it, the more time you have to study it, the more time you understand it. I think that's one reason why horror movie sequels are always so bad.
Yeah.
It's just you desensitize the viewer to whatever is scary, so they're no longer scared of it. And then if you keep pushing it off, like the Jasons, Freddy's, whatever, eventually the writers don't know how to make it scary anymore, and they just make it a parody of what it used to be. That's why you have like all these horror icons.
Jason in New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Walking down the streets.
Goes to the hood. You have just these absurd.
Have the movie The Village? That's sort of like what you're talking about. Reminds me of that because I mean it was literally like the not seeing the monster, the fear of the monster made it really scary. But then once you find out the monster's actually the adults dressed up, in this scary outfit, suddenly the fear's gone entirely. But that first half of the movie was terrifying because you had no idea what this really was.
There's a lot of people that hate, and I know the what's the word I'm trying to think of? not representation. It's,
Reputation.
Reputation. Thank you.
Yeah.
The reputation of M. Night
Oh,
Shyamalan is obviously terrible. But like, there's kind of a saying, you know, you're only as good as your last work or your last film.
Right.
To me, he can keep making awful or just mediocre films. I don't care.
Yeah,
The
he's
Sixth
still-
Sense and Signs
Yeah.
are incredible movies. They were
Yes.
masterfully, perfectly done, and he did that. Well, especially with Signs, he shows you exactly the right amount for you to put an image in your head, and then takes it away for you to think about it yourself as scenes are going on. And I think it was done so well.
Yeah. And Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix, both of them in that movie is incredible, I think.
Yes, absolutely. That is probably the first film I can remember having like a deep. Because I went to the theater to see it when I was like 7 or something.
I love your mom more and more, man.
I remember getting home because we went to a drive-in theater too, of all places. So in the countryside in like Argo.
Oh yeah.
I got home and I remember like I was terrified. I remember getting out and like looking up at the stars, being like, "Oh crap, they can be out there."
That might be the best way to watch that movie.
Yeah.
Or in the middle of a corn maze.
Yeah. Seriously.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it was Mel Gibson, incredible performance. Joaquin Phoenix, those scenes I remember as I got older and rewatched it and could understand more to it. I think it was like one of the first few times like I can remember crying at a movie because like the performance was so good and I was like, just terrific.
Yeah. Well, and then the connection to the beginning with what the mom said, and like there's so much like what do you call it, sort of cyclical parts to that movie that everything sort of cycles back around to what was said earlier. I mean, similar to Sixth Sense and how it like goes back to the beginning when you're like, oh, he got shot, you know, spoiler alert, I guess I should say. Surely everybody knows that one by now. But
actually, you know what? You know who did not know the ending to that movie?
No.
He is legit probably one of the only people in America or the world who got to watch that movie in its like perfect setting where he did not know the ending at all.
Yep.
He got to experience it.
Yeah. Oh,
that's awesome.
Somehow I've gone my entire life without having that spoiled. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I also just don't pay attention to like pop culture though, because my girlfriend got mad at me that I didn't know what Beyonce looked like. I had no idea. I didn't know what she looked like. I mean, I've heard her name. I know who she is. I've heard her music, but I didn't know what she looked like because there was a lady that came on screen. They're all freaking out. I'm like, who is that? And she's like, you don't know who Beyonce is? Whole big deal. It's like, no, I don't know who Beyonce is. Same thing with the Sixth Sense ending. I just sit on a computer all day to edit.
That's true. You live in like a cubicle, basically.
Right. Yeah. This is my life.
That's funny. Is there anything specific that you would say inspires you? I mean, we talked about sort of the horror genre with Jordan, but Stephen, is there anything that stands out in your mind? And also, I would ask y'all, like, is there somebody local maybe that inspires you currently?
Yeah, I mean, I would say Alan Oakman, which is the guy that I had previously mentioned. He started off as I think a programmer, but he ended up doing Comedy Central. I think it was a Comedy Central or Adult Swim.
Adult Swim.
It was Adult Swim, like animations and all kinds of different things. He's had a.
I take it back. It may have been Cartoon Network because he talked about it was for kid programs.
Okay, one of those out in Atlanta.
Is this him?
Yeah, that's Alan. And he is just he's a big inspiration. He's a big family guy. He's extremely sweet, big teddy bear.
Yeah, Alan Oakman is great.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
That's him.
His name, yeah. His name on my phone is Daddy Allen.
Good old Daddy Allen.
But yeah, he's just a great guy. He has had a very successful career. So at this point in his life, he's just trying to make other people have a successful career. We had lunch the other day, and he was he was just sitting there and thinking about different ways that he can help me out. And he really is. He's a big inspiration and a great guy. But I mean, same thing with Van Cook. He's which you won't find him on Instagram, but he's my old boss, and I mean, he was a great mentor and advisor for a long time too. But
yeah, and I feel like also too, to interject too, I think a lot of the local filmmakers. I feel like
always inspiration.
Huge inspiration.
Well, Max Tatum,
and Balin Wood,
yeah,
Brennan Martinoni.
Yeah, they're very, very talented filmmakers, and they're super young too. I think they're like 21, 22.
Yeah, like 21. Matt, I think Balin is 25, and I think Brennan is 27.
Okay,
28, something like that.
But they're very talented filmmakers.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Well, I'm so most of the time I use this question. I mean, first of all, I do want to know like what's inspiring other creatives, but also I always look at some of the people that are local, like who could I speak to next. So I definitely think the Oakman, Alan Oakman you mentioned would be somebody that I'd love to reach out to.
Yes,
first of all, he looks like he and I could relate to each other since we neither have hair. So, and,
You'll love talking to him. He's a very sweet guy. He the first time we ever met him, it was just out of the blue, and I won't go into the whole details of exactly how we got in contact. But whenever we were first meeting him, we were meeting him at the Bazitz, and I texted him. I was like, "Hey man, we're here," and he's like, "Just come in and look for the fat old bald guy with a beard."
If I would have been there, you would have confused as to which one he was talking about. So.
Yeah, but he's a very funny and sweet guy. But yeah, you'll love talking to him. He's got a company called Out There Creative, which he does a lot of branding. He's done a lot of the branding for like some major companies in Birmingham, Alabama. It's been around for a long time doing it. He built I think St. Vincent, Children's. He built all of Children's. He's the reason why Children's has a website. He was the one that built the original website, and has built branding for like a lot of the big companies out there, like Soho Social. He did the branding for that back in the day, and then, gosh, I don't even know. There's so many different restaurants and things that, I mean, it's the craziest thing because Alan, you'll hang out with him and we'll go into a place. He's like, "Yeah, I did the branding of this originally." And it's like, what? Dude, what?
Yeah,
Like,
he'll just pull things out like the whole Cartoon Network thing. Him working at Cartoon Network was just like a random. We were walking down the street and it was a fact we got on the topic of Cartoon Network. And it's like, oh yeah, I used to work.
Yeah, he used to do animation. So yeah, he's just he's a very talented guy, and I definitely think you should reach out to him because you would really get a lot better content than you've gotten out of us.
I don't know about that, but I'll definitely reach out to him. He seems like he would be a great guy. Well, listen, I really appreciate y'all. I've taken almost 2 hours of your time today. Thank y'all so much for being on the podcast. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
it's been great.
It's been an honor. Yeah, I really appreciate you having us on here.